on the sale of the Stampeders.
Okay.
The buyer, I'm told, from the same guy who gave me the tip in the first place, which coincidentally has been confirmed by a lot of Calgary football people that this is a thing. They got a buyer for the Calgary Stampeders. The guy has a connection to the XFL. Again, you may not like what I have to say, but I'm not lying to you. And so I'm going back and forth with the guy, and I'm like, wouldn't it be something if it was The Rock? And he said, my guy, he said, wouldn't it be something? Come full circle. Play with the Stampeders, got cut, come back and buy them. Well, that's cute. I look at it as this. Who doesn't want to go back and buy the place that cut you or fired you and burn it down? I'm not saying The Rock wants to go and burn down the Calgary Stampeders, but for him to come back and peel off the cash to buy the Calgary Stampeders?
Oh, yeah.
Could happen.
That's Ari Gold style. And he comes in with a paintball gun. Right? Everybody wants to own. You want to fire me? Okay, I'll come back and buy you and I'll own the whole place.
I know an NHL player that played for God's team, the Regina Pats, and let's just say he struggled in school, okay? And when he was in a meeting with the principal, said, I will come back here after my many years in the NHL, buy this school and burn it down. Which he did spend many years in the NHL, but he never came back and bought the school and burned it down. That's anyways, awesome. From Claude Taylor watching on YouTube, he says, Rod is pure entertainment. Well, that's a new one. Could you write that down, guys? Put that on the wall. Rod is pure entertainment.
Good one,
what did I say? We should do like movie posters, right? With all the reviews on. We never did that.
I know. Write that down. Put it on your book.
Rod is pure entertainment. We got to roll. Jeff Patterson coming in next from Vancouver to talk about this and all these other things. John in Winnipeg. Can you put that column up? The Rock, the new owner of the Calgary Stamps. Yes, 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 yes. If you know me, and a lot of you think you do, but you don't, but you do, Darren.
Yes, I do.
You can tell that my mind is racing right now, right?
I can.
Because I'm trying to not make people look bad. Let me just say, I was sent a picture yesterday of Bo Levi Mitchell in a walking boot. But I didn't say anything about it. Remember that? And now reports in Calgary are coming out that Bo Levi Mitchell was seen today in a boot. Yeah, well,
spicy.
I saw that yesterday. But I didn't say anything about it. And I'm getting a little annoyed at people questioning my sources. For instance, so for those that missed it, I don't owe you anything. Zip. Okay, for the people that are questioning my sources. But on the Calgary Stampeders sale, a guy that I would suggest is loosely connected to the Calgary Stampeders wrote me a couple weeks ago and said, Rod, the Stamps have a buyer. They've been for sale, and they got a guy, doesn't want to be identified. So I went on the air with him. And within a day, my phone blew up with Calgary football people, sprinkled all over the continent, like guys that have been through that Calgary organization.
Yep.
But one guy called me, and you know who he is. Don't get much more connected to the Stampeders than him. And he goes, Ray, you're right, Rod, and here's what I know. The Flames have been trying to sell the Stamps for 1.5 to 2 years. They finally found a guy. When the sale's going to go through, we're not sure. A former CFL commissioner is brokering the deal. It's going to happen. I don't throw this stuff out willy-nilly. When are you going to realize that? And I'm getting annoyed. Like, for instance, Jeff, the Stamps fan, he's being very nice. He says, okay, Rod, with all due respect, what's your end game regarding the Stamps sales story? You must have one, because to me it seems you're backing yourself into a corner more and more, and I know you're too smart to do that. That is what has me intrigued with all this. I'm not backing myself into jack squat. I'm reporting a story that's true, that nobody in the media in Calgary knows about. But because I'm not connected to the Saskatchewan Roughriders anymore and I don't answer to anybody, you wouldn't believe the scoops that I'm getting on a daily basis. I pick and choose what I'm going to report. And when these two guys, of which you know who they are, I just can't name them, give me this information, they're giving it to me to report. Like years ago, I never really understood why certain guys would call me with information. I thought they were just calling to talk. And then I'm like, oh, they want me to put this out. Okay, I can do that. That was years ago, and now I realize it. I put my balls on the table with the Ken Holland story that was going to be the GM of the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers are still mad at me 3 to 4 years later that I broke that story. I just got a call not that long ago. Oilers still mad at you. I'm like, I don't care. What am I supposed to do? Not report what I know? Screw them. I was right. Like, I'm okay if I'm wrong. People still talk about that. Claude Taillefer in Montreal. Rod, F him. I know, right? Chris Bird in Toronto says, Rod, you're all class. Is he being sarcastic? I feel like he is.
There's a chance. No. No way.
Where were we?
I'm not sure. We got to find it.
Very long Rod's rant here for Bronco Plumbing and Heating. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, if this sale happens, I'll be the first to admit you were right and we were wrong, Rod. Great. You're the guy that I laughed at the Blue Bombers and Mike O'Shea for saying Andrew Harris had a doctor's appointment, and that's why he left practice. Remember that? We laughed at it. We said he doesn't have an appointment. He's hurt. You, Jeff, said you're going to look really stupid, Rod, if it turns out he did. Well, guess what? I was right. How many times I got to be right before you get off my ass and get off my back about this stuff? Would you just sit there and listen? And, you know, back to the XFL stuff. If you really want to walk this back and look at it, John Ohm. Whoop, almost knocked my coffee. In Winnipeg. John Ohm. Rod's rant on steroids. Love it. Never changed, bro. I'm not changing now. On the XFL stuff, like, let's just think about this for 1 second. March 10th, Randy Ambrosie says that they're talking about collaborating with the XFL. The football world explodes. Mm-hmm. And then the middle of July, it's like, no, we're not doing it anymore. What? And so I'm just reporting what I'm being told about what's going on. Some teams wanted to, some teams didn't. I'm not going to say where Randy Ambrosie fell on that, although I personally believe I do know where he fell on that from what I've been told. And then they just yanked the carpet out from under everybody. Like, they don't know what they're doing. And if you haven't noticed over the last week, what have I been saying, Darren? Bravo, CFL, for playing. This is great. I'm seeing things on Twitter about the relationship with the players and the owners is more fractured than ever before. And they're losing millions. I'm not even going to talk about that stuff anymore. I'm just going to talk about the games because it's not good.
Yeah.
What's going on behind the scenes is actually horrible. But these owners did anything, and executives, to keep this league alive. I still don't necessarily know how they did it. But the thing is, if the league goes tits up, those guys go tits up. So you knew they were going to do everything in their power to keep their jobs. I'm literally on like a 20-minute rant here.
It's great.
Well,
now here's the thing. Like, you're not sitting here making predictions. That's the difference.
No.
There's a difference between reporting and having scoops and making predictions. You made predictions on the Pacific Division. So if Anaheim's not in third, we're going to thoroughly shove that down your throat.
Yeah.
Because you will be wrong.
Which is fine.
Right? If a sale of the Calgary Stampeders doesn't go through, you're not wrong. You're reporting the news, which is that they're exploring a sale. And then if the sale falls through, you'll report that too. As the story develops, why are you digging into that? You're not digging in. There was a development in the story. Now we've learned that the potential buyer's connected to the XFL. Until the deal's signed, there's no deal.
Right.
I'm not saying they're going to be sold. We're not saying I'm predicting they're going to be sold. I'm just telling you.
This is what's going on.
This is the news. I mean, we could not give you that info, and then when it does happen, it can blindside you.
Former Regina Pat Kevin Chet Clemens is watching in Alberta, and he writes on Twitter, says, Rod's accuracy runs around 90%. I'll take it. That's an A.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take that. Wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. But it's not, again, it's not accuracy if it's not inaccurate if Calgary doesn't get sold. You're not wrong.
Right.
Doesn't mean they're not exploring it. All you're doing is telling the news that you have. And that's what we do on a daily basis. And then we discuss it. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't think it's...
It's 11:11.
Of course it is.
Make a wish. From Stacey Champagne, watching from Access Television World Headquarters, Stacey says, if loving your show is wrong, I don't want to be right. It's an old Barbara Mandrell country song, which you wouldn't know probably.
If loving you is wrong?
I don't want to be right.
Yeah, I know this song.
You know that one?
Oh, yeah. But now that we're open, you've cut open, and anything else we got to get out?
No, still going. Yep.
Okay.
Stacey, tell your bosses to carry our show. Jason Wall watching in Winnipeg. 30-minute rant. Let's do it. Love it. Keep it going. I can. From Jordan Ewart. And that's the way it is. Who said it?
Walter Cronkite.
Nice! Tell him what he's won, Bob.
The only reason I...
Good
so
one,
we're
boys.
going on a different path here.
Good one, boys.
The only reason I know that is from Bruce Almighty. When Jim Carrey's standing in the mirror, he's like, and that's the way
it
it is.
I actually watched Walter Cronkite.
So I did not, but I knew it was Walter Cronkite. See what you learn around here?
So much. Roger Yee is watching in Calgary. He says, Rod's broken more stories before the big guys like TSN, so I will believe Rod all day long until he gives me a reason not to. I'm just reporting what's going on. Do you remember you and me standing in Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee? And I was talking to that agent. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, oh, Kelly McCrimmon's going to be the GM of the Seattle Kraken and Dave Tippett's going to be the coach. You don't know that? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm stupid, I guess. No, I didn't know that. And that agent's probably watching right now because he watches on Game Plus TV every day, he tells me. But stuff happens! And what I believe happened was Kelly McCrimmon went into the owner's office in Vegas and said, I'm going to Seattle. And the owner said, no, you're not. What's it going to take for you to stay? Well, I'll just stop there. But what if I gone and reported that Kelly McCrimmon was going to be the GM of the Seattle Kraken and Dave Tippett was going to be the head coach? I didn't say anything about that because I didn't necessarily think that was going to happen. Things change. Stuff happens. Fair?
Mm-hmm.
We were driving through the Brandon area on the weekend. Remember that? I said, let's stop in Clear Lake. I want to go see Krim. I want to ask him why he traded Marc-Andre Fleury.
Thank you.
Remember what you said?
He'd probably answer, we should film it.
He probably would not be surprised that you showed up on his doorstep in Clear Lake, Manitoba.
Yeah.
Krim, why'd you trade the flower? Back to the bat phone. George in Montreal. Hey, guys, love the show. Just turned on the tube. You might have already talked about this. What happens if Friday's game is canceled because of the smoke? They each get a point? Let's burn that bridge when we get there. But remember in Edmonton a couple years ago? They just delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. They will get the game in. They never, ever cancel games.
Not if they can help it.
No, because it would cost them millions. So what happens? Maybe they play it the next morning. I could see that. Because if, again, you people in Eastern Canada that aren't dealing with this forest fire stuff that we are out here in the West, it's not usually that bad in the morning. I don't know what it's like in Calgary, but here it doesn't usually come in until like noon.
Yeah, that's right.
Could you see them Just holding off?
They could.
It'd be like waiting out a storm.
They might. They could do like an 11 a.m. kickoff. That would be interesting. Wouldn't be totally unprecedented. That would be cool. I could see it. But they'll do what they can to get the game for sure. And it would all depend on, a big part of it would be the broadcast schedule, right? Can TSN accommodate at what times, right? But they'd make it happen.
Scotty P, writing from Whitewood, from the 853. He says, hearing Rod read some of people's views about the sale of the Stampeders makes me happy he doesn't take phone calls. At least I don't have to hear their stupid voices while they express their stupid opinions. Victimize them, Roddy. Trust me, Scotty from Whitewood, I am, and I will. I'm going to break. You done?
I'm good. We're just getting rolling, man.
I just don't get it. If I didn't like Jason from Red Deer so much, I would tear him a new one from the Puck and Pigskin podcast. Where is it? He writes that he goes, change of topic. If you're looking for something new to watch these days, check out From the Ground Up on YouTube about the design and building of Allegiant Stadium. What do you mean change a topic? I decide the topics, not you. Jeff the Stamps fan. Phone calls. There's an idea. Not happening. Remember early on when we were planning this show, you're like, do you want to take phone calls? No.
I didn't even get the words.
That's a hard no.
The words didn't even get out of my mouth. You knew exactly where I was going with it.
Nope.
I still thought about it.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.